Before we get to the U.S., there's a crazy story on the women's side as well. Canada are the reigning gold medal winners. They begin their campaign tomorrow against New Zealand, and they have been caught spying on New Zealand's training sessions with a drone. 2 assistants have been sent home, and their head coach, Bev Priestman, will not manage in tomorrow's game. The Canada Federation put out a statement, very embarrassed by what happened. FIFA launching an investigation. How about that? The Canadians are very sneaky. This is shades of Spygate with the Patriots, the Astros controversy. And I'll stop there. I can't think of any college football incident recently that would make for a good reference.
You might want to stop and let me take it from here over there, you Wolverine, you. This is insane, okay? And you don't be fooled by all the nice Canadian talk and our friends from the Great White North. They can cheat with the best of them. But the problem is they're cheating when it wasn't necessary. This is New Zealand, right? Is this who they were spying on?
Correct.
Oh, come on. Come on, Canada. You're better than that. Or I guess you're not better than that. And it was done by a drone, so the technology. And in this day and age, okay, I get it, you're trying to get any type of advantage. But first off, it's cheating. I do think when it comes to the Olympics, whether it's right or not, right or wrong, the Olympics kind of have a underlying morality that's maybe different than other tournaments. And so I think that's why there's a lot that look at this and say this is beyond the pale for anybody. And for Canada right now, they're going to pay the price. And right now we've heard that New Zealand is asking them to forfeit the game and give them the points and do all that kind of stuff. It's just, it's dumb. And they've sent the coaches home. And now Bev is going to miss that first game. And it's not a way that if you're Canada, you want to start off a tournament. And this is still the Canadian women's national team, which has certainly been successful over the years and is looking to have a successful one. And, the players probably have no idea and have no connection to this, except they're going to be ultimately tainted because they're going to be looked at least through this tournament, as cheaters. And not only that, but as stupid cheaters. If you're going to cheat, at least be smart about it. And they weren't even smart about it in terms of who they decided to cheat on here with New Zealand. So again, just day after day when it comes to the Olympics, there seems to be something ridiculous and yes, interesting in terms of the content that it gives us here. But man, oh man, this is insane.
So I mentioned that Canada won the gold medal at the last Olympics. The U.S. had to settle for the bronze, and then Spain won the last World Cup. The U.S. crashed out in the round of 16. A lot of U.S. fans hoping that the arrival of Emma Hayes will help the U.S. Move up, back to the top of the sport. But Emma had some interesting comments on the eve of her first tournament as U.S. coach. She said, I think one of the biggest problems is that too often we keep talking about what we're going to do in Paris or what happens when we get to the semis or the final. I think it's disrespectful to the rest of the world to talk like that, and I think the game has moved to a point where that isn't the case. It isn't a shoo-in to get somewhere. It has to be earned, and there's no given right when women's football is developed the way it has across the world, that there are top football nations in this tournament, and any given day, any opponent can beat anyone. I do believe that. I don't think shocks in the women's game exist anymore. I think we have to reframe our focus a little bit and have respect for the rest of the world.
Okay. This is not the first time that Emma has kind of talked about this, and the narrative right now and the way that it is being framed is that, she's really realistic and she's finally, saying what needs to be said. And this, American exceptionalism and the hubris that comes along with being so good for so long. We got taken down a peg or two last summer in the Women's World Cup, and now she's here to give us a dose of reality in that the rest of the world has caught up and in many instances maybe passed. All right. So first off, we don't need Emma to tell us that. We all understand that. However, Emma, you're the coach of the U.S. Women's National Team. Okay. So all of that history, and whether you want to call it hubris or anything like that, at least there are wins and consistent wins and success to fall on. It's not just us saying that we are good. We have been good. We have been good for a long time. I get it that you want to lower expectations, but guess what? You don't get to do that. Even if you're Emma Hayes, You're the coach of the U.S. women's national team. And when you go to a tournament, there is the expectation that you are going to win it. In the same way that a Brazil or an Argentina on the men's side, obviously, or even in England. And I'm not talking about unrealistic expectations. And so when she says these things, I know on the surface, you look at it as, hey, it's a breath of fresh air, and she's telling us what we really need to know. But this doesn't absolve her responsibility, and this doesn't mean that we're not going to have the same expectations of doing well in a tournament. And so I get the icky feeling that she's kind of setting it up for less than stellar types of performances when it comes to the Olympics. Emma, you were hired to win with this team. Again, when it comes to the U.S. women's national team, nobody gives a crap how they win. They just want them to win because they, for a long time, have been the best in the world. And the Olympics, as opposed to the men's game, are as important. They're not more important, but in many cases, people look at them as important as the World Cup. I still think the World Cup is more important, and I can certainly make that case. And if I'm looking between these Olympics this summer and the World Cup 3 years from now, obviously the World Cup is the most important thing. But you don't get to make excuses because you're going through a transition period. You don't get to make excuses because you have thinned the herd and you have moved on. And while this may be a transitional type of moment for this team that is necessary, that doesn't diminish the expectations. That doesn't mean that we are going to expect less from you and this team going forward.
I agree with you. I think she's not reading the room. The fact that the women's game is more competitive and that other countries have caught up to the U.S. is something that's been discussed ad nauseum the last few years. Everybody is aware of that. And I think what U.S. fans are looking for is for a coach that's going to bring that swagger back. I would have rather Emma channeled her Jose Mourinho and walked in and said, you know what? Bring on Spain. We're still the U.S. We're the only 4-time World Cup winners, and our goal is to win the gold medal. And so this was a weird discourse for me. I think she's telling everybody something that, to your point, they don't need to be reminded of. It's something that we've all been discussing the last couple of years, especially in the wake of that disastrous World Cup campaign.
Yep. I mean, we're paying her a boatload of money. Not we, I'm not, but the U.S. Soccer Federation is paying her a boatload of money to win, not to tell us that the rest of the world has caught up because they've actually put resources. We can all see that. You don't need to pay anybody for that. We all understand that and know that. You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops twice a week right here on my very own YouTube page. The only way to stay up to date is to hit that subscribe button down below. Size the day, and see you soon.